Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the threeohtake, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the threeohtake presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 464. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin, and I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Hello. I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Give my man a round of applause here. I'm proud of you. That's a good dub. I'm not gonna sit here and whine about my team laying an egg because I don't think it would have mattered. Your team put up some crazy numbers in fantasy these last 2 weeks. So you're gonna end at what, 660, averaging 330 points per. I mean, that's big. That's a big time performance. So I'm not even going to sit here and say I lost. I think it's because you just outright beat me. This wasn't just because my team laid an egg. So congrats, sir. Good luck in the ship. And I mentioned this in the group chat. My attention is now shifted to fantasy football. That's, when I say now, it's probably been the last week or so. It was ugly quick. It got ugly quick.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I wasn't even going to say anything unless you brought it up.
No.
It was a good fought matchup.
I've accepted my fate for the last. It's a slow death, but it feels better this way, I think, especially coming into a recording.
I mean, we had like a week. There's 2 week matchups in the playoffs of the threeohtake fantasy league, and when I saw you had Freddie Freeman on the bench with like a week left, I was like, oh, he's checked out.
Well, what's pissing me off is that they've been going day to day with him, like, and then he would like randomly be written in the lineup after my infielder was already played a morning game, and I'm like, all right, well, if this is how it's gonna go. And George Kirby, you're dead to me. I will never speak anything positive about you ever again. That's it. That's all I got. I'm a happy guy.
Or find yourself on Nate's fantasy team.
Ever again.
Yeah, it was a good fight, good battle, but on to the championship, and I'm going to try for my first ever crown in fantasy baseball. Have yet to win. We've been doing this league for some time now, have yet to win. So this might be my shot. This might be my only chance.
Need it.
We'll see.
Need it.
We'll see. Speaking of the
chain,
yeah, man, you like that?
Yeah, that's
like
nice.
That? Thank you.
The gold.
Speaking of the crown, there's a particular pitcher who is in pursuit of the Triple Crown, and he's also in the middle, or might even say wrapping up the American League Cy Young race. There's some names in the mix, but I think it's safe to say this individual is leading the way, but there has been a massive swell as of late for what I believe will be the candidate that's going to give him the best run for his money. And we are talking about Tarik Skubal.
Tarek
Skubal. I knew I would do that, and
I like Tarik more personally.
Tarik, I mean, if I'm Tarik Skubal, I'm kind of going Tarik. If I'm being honest with you,
yeah.
Tarik Skubal and Emmanuel Clase. It seems as though Corbin Burns has fallen from grace. I don't know if he's necessarily in the hunt. It's been a brutal. Brutal might be a little strong, but it's been a somewhat ugly month as of today. So as it stands right now, I think it's between Tarik Skubal and Emmanuel Clase. Or what do you think, Nate? Are we giving the nod to the starter, or are we giving the nod to the closer? Both of whom have been completely dominant in their respective roles.
Yeah.
I mean, Emmanuel Clase, I don't know if you've seen, he has an ERA plus of 5.89. As of right now, I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't know.
What does that mean?
I don't even know logically how I can make sense of an ERA plus of 5.89. I didn't know that was possible. Two, quite know how he even achieved that mark. But here we are.
7 whip. That's different, dude.
Running through some numbers here. Entering September, Tarek Skubal has made 27 starts, 168 and a thirds innings. He's 16-4, leads all of baseball with 16 wins, I believe, right? No, the American League. Or all of baseball.
Yeah.
All of baseball.
I'm going to say all of baseball.
I think it's all of baseball.
Not that that is a barometer anymore.
Not that it matters. Well, when it comes to the Triple Crown,
True.
ERA of a 2.51 and ERA plus a 166, leads all of baseball in strikeouts, and has a K percentage of 30.3, as well as a WAR of 5.8. So as I mentioned, leads all baseball, 16 wins, leads all of baseball with an ERA of 2.51, leads all of baseball with 201 strikeouts.
And he'll probably have, 4 more starts, right?
Yeah, he made his start on Saturday, went 8 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, and 8 Ks. An absolute masterclass from Skubal.
32 starts is a full year, right? Typically.
That's a heck of a campaign right there.
I think
with what he's been able to do and how he's been able to maintain it.
Yeah, those are important numbers for me. I think health is a big factor, and especially in today's game on the mound. So I'm giving edge there. I love that we're north of 200 strikeouts. That's rare nowadays, and we're gonna again get in that 200 inning range, which I can appreciate as well. After 4 or 5 more starts, I think he'll be pretty close. That to me is impressive. That to me is very impressive. I love what Clase is doing. Don't get me wrong. I love what's happening over there. Can we just, is there a reliever award? There is a reliever award.
It used to be, wasn't it? Or no, that was still a pigeon award. It was the Rolaids. I was gonna say, was that for specifically?
I think it was a
relievers?
Rolaids reliever. Yeah. Can we just
Rolaids Relief Man Award?
Can we name that after Mo? Can we just name a? I mean, we like naming awards after guys. Cy Young is after a guy. Hank Aaron. Like, why not?
The Rolaids Relief Man Award was an annual MLB award given from 1976 to 2012 to the top relief pitchers of the regular season.
Does it say what it's called now?
Did they just stop doing it?
That's really weird. Well, I do know that we've started to get into the football model, like first team all pro kind of thing.
I got you.
Which I do like, by the way. I'm a fan of that.
According to Wikipedia, the greatest source of information and the most accurate source of information that you can find on the internet, in 2013, Sanofi acquired Rolaids from Johnson & Johnson.
So Rolaids is dead, is what you're saying.
McNeil Consumer Healthcare, and the award was canceled.
So we just got rid of the award because we lost the sponsor? That's what you're telling me?
Money talks, baby. Money talks.
That's crazy. All right, let's get a Mo award going for the relievers.
All right, speaking of relievers, speaking of Mo, speaking of we haven't mentioned his name yet, but a guy that comes to mind for me is Edgar Martinez. To me, it's a similar conversation, because I instinctively want to jump the gun here and say, look at the body of work that Tarek Skubal's been putting forth this year. How do you not give it to a guy that's out there every 5th day, notching 6, 7, 8, I don't know, sometimes 9 innings?
Yeah.
How do you not give the Cy Young to that guy?
Yeah.
But it goes back to the conversation that you and I had when Edgar Martinez was on the cusp of or he was on the brink, I would say possibly there was a threat that he wouldn't make the Hall of Fame, I guess, given the nature of his position. And the conversation that took place between us as well as a lot of other people is it's part of the game. Like how do you punish the guy for succeeding and thriving in a position that is a part of the game and that is an institution of the game?
Sure.
It's not Clase's fault that the closer role exists. He just fits into that role, does it very, very well, and puts up numbers, like I said, that don't even make sense. He has an ERA plus a 5.89. How that makes sense, don't even know. He just recorded his 40th save of the season over the weekend, which also gave him the career franchise record for Cleveland, 149, and I think he's only, like 26? So it just speaks...
Third consecutive 40 save season. By the
I
way.
mean, that's stupid. Have you seen the comps, by the way, between him and Mo?
Like at this point in his career,
at this point of his career, and if you just if you compare career rates, and I know it's different. Mo's longevity far exceeds what Clase has done.
19 years is...
Yeah, it's stupid. But yeah, like I think his strikeout at this stage, his strikeout rate is higher. His walk rate is lower. There's a couple other metrics there that I think Clase has the current edge over Mariano.
Just for a frame of reference for Mariano, cracked 40 saves 9 times in his career, and 2 of those seasons went over 50 saves. So it's just that's what the best ever at that position means, and he's on his way. Like he's trending. Like what can you say? Clase is trending.
And not to discredit anything Mariano's done, but we have to remember Clase still has a whole month of baseball left
for sure,
and
he
he's
might
pitching
get close to 50.
He's pitching for a team that's currently in the hunt and giving him opportunities to get these saves and to put up these numbers and to add to this body of work that, again, mathematically just doesn't seem to make sense. Like that's the kind of season we're looking at for Clase. But on the flip side, Skubal.
It's just hard. Yeah. It's really hard for me to go away from that. And more so this year than like any other year. You know what I mean? Like, I just love like you putting your foot on the ground and saying like, I'm showing up every day this year. I'm making every start. It's just as important when we see shortstops playing, 155 plus games. Like that's a big deal nowadays. It shouldn't be, but it is. And especially with what we've seen, like with the arm injuries, and for him to do this and not just show up every day, but also be dominant. And I think if you were to ask majority of the names and the majority of the hitters across the league, they would probably say that Skubal's the toughest AB right now. And it's no knock against Clase, but let's face it. A save is typically just 3 outs. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, let's not discredit the.
I'm not going to tear him down, but like that's the argument. Like what we're having to do is value a starting pitcher versus a closer. Like that's
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree, but like just to say it's 3 outs, like it's widely accepted that the last 3 outs are the toughest in the game to get, and I think you and I would both agree there. But to the people that are trying to state their case for Skubal by just saying, well, we don't care about your guy that comes out and faces 3 batters every few nights. It's like, well,
he is throwing more often. I mean, I get that. There's pros and cons to each one. You know what I mean? There's arguments for each side. I just I think it's a lot. It holds a lot more water in my mind as a starter, specifically this year.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that they're both. I mean, I think we can all agree that the awards are influenced heavily by recency bias. What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me down the stretch?
This is true too.
I mean, we're talking about that with the National League Rookie of the Year conversation, with what Jackson Merrill's been doing and how he's just seemingly vaulted his way up the leaderboard there. They're both showing up right now. Like Clase has just been lights out. Skubal, I mean, just looking at his last 5 games. So going back roughly a month, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 9 Ks, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 9 Ks, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, 5 innings, 3 earned runs, 8 Ks. And then, as I mentioned, over the weekend against the Red Sox, 8 innings, 1 earned run, 8 Ks.
Yeah, see, like that one 5-inning start with 3 earned runs and 8 Ks is kind of a clunker for his standard, which is nuts. Because that's still a quality start, right? No, 6. You gotta go 6.
Yeah, I gotta go 6. But the fact that he's putting up 8 Ks over 5 innings,
right?
I mean, they are both showing up, and they're making it impossible for that to be a factor, for that to be a part of the conversation. It's like, okay, well, they're both having great years, but who's shown up lately? They both have. Yeah. And the fact that as I mentioned, the fact that the Guardians are playing the way that they've been playing all year, the fact that Clase has certainly been a part of their success, a huge reason for that. It really just comes down to the conversation of starter versus closer, because the numbers respectively are top of the game.
Yeah. Both league leading in their categories. It's really hard to compare those two. And that's what I'm saying, is that like I think we need like a reliever award. I think it needs to hold just as much weight as a Cy Young. Like not that the Rolaids are out, like can we create a new award without a sponsorship and make it mean something? Because this season should mean something for Clase. Not winning the Cy Young potentially shouldn't be a awardless season in my mind. Dominant, fun to watch, and just he's must-see TV in the postseason. You're gonna be glued. It's already, the back end of a ball game, but goodness, dude.
I know they say pitching wins championships, and I would tend to agree, but there's something especially sweet about a team having an established closer in the postseason.
Yeah.
And having him come in to lock down your ball games without a question of who it might be that comes through that door.
Right. Like it's just get to that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your goal. I want to see how many.
You're up by 3 or less. You're in the 9th inning of a postseason game. Emmanuel Clase is coming into the game. And say what you will about flexibility, closer by committee. The fact that the Guardians have Emmanuel Clase to look at and to rely on, that's worth its weight in gold. You can't beat that feeling or that security in the postseason. Like if you got some big boppers, they may lean into a couple in a given series, but to know that you have that guy, to your point, Nate, just get to that guy.
Yeah.
And it's lights out. It's game over.
It's to the point where now you're playing an 8 inning game. If you're the other team, you only have 8 innings. You know what I'm saying? But you talk about how well they've pitched across the board, across the roster. Like if you can turn a postseason game into a 6 or 7 inning game realistically with dominance on the back end. This is what I was talking about, dude. Like the Guardians make me nervous. If you're a fan of an AL team and you're in the postseason hunt, you should be nervous about the Cleveland Guardians because now they're swinging it. And everything we've seen the last few years has just been pitching. And then they get to the postseason and the bats don't show up. Now they're swinging it and they're like really swinging it. It's not just hanging middle of the pack. They got dudes that are leading leagues. So look out.
You still going Skubal though?
I still got to go Skubal. I still got to go. If you get me 200 innings and 200 strikeouts and an ERA under 3, that to me is pretty much the blueprint to a Cy Young year.
Last thing I'll say
at this rate, he may get to 250 strikeouts.
It's very possible. But the last thing I'll say on it, I think it's not, I don't want to call it an unfair advantage, but I think the thing that Skubal has working for him is the expectation was there at the start of the season. People were putting him.
Also, that was my preseason pick, so I gotta keep riding that.
Exactly. But it's like you and other people as well were already putting him in that conversation. To my confusion, I go back to what I said. I just feel like he kind of came up out of nowhere in the Cy Young conversation, specifically ahead of the 2024 season. I was like, I mean, he's throwing it well, but like, are we really going to just catapult him to the forefront or, near the front of that conversation? And he's lived up to it. So the fact that he was already in the conversation before the year even started, and he's been able to ride that out and perform to that level, to that expectation, I feel like only furthers his case. I mean, not that we need to take preseason predictions into account or preseason awards into account, but the fact that he's been able to do what he's done under these expectations has been impressive.
100%.
So I would probably have to go Skubal as well. As dominant as Clase has been, and not to discredit his role as a closer, because I think as much as baseball wants to change the way they value certain roles when it comes to pitching, I still think having an established lockdown closer is invaluable. However, I think what Skubal has been able to do over the course of an entire season, staying consistently healthy and putting together the body of work that he's done is extremely impressive, and has kept the Tigers in the conversation. I mean, he's almost accounted for a quarter of their wins this season.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. If he does stumble, if we throw 2 or 3 more clunkers into this and Clase gets north of 45 saves and keeps doing what he's been doing, I think it's a more difficult conversation.
I mean, I think it's a difficult conversation now. I think you're right. I think it gets more difficult, but I think if it pans out that way, if Skubal slides in September and Clase continues to light it up,
because you made a good argument at the beginning, is that like the Guardians are still very much in it and the Tigers are definitely fading. So it's
still in it technically, but
yeah, they're just running out of days on the calendar.
Sure.
And the Guardians are going to continue to have those opportunities. Clase is going to continue to have those opportunities. It's going to be interesting.
You know who's not going to have those opportunities?
Who?
Chicago White Sox.
Oh, man.
Wrapped up the weekend. Well, not technically if you want to count Monday as the weekend. Shout out Labor Day. Shout out
big day.
Shout out Americans wanting a well-earned day off from their labor.
Big day.
Wrapped up the traditional weekend, we'll call it, setting their franchise record in losses. They currently sit at 31-107. They broke the record, the franchise record that was set back in 1970 when they lost 106. Don't forget, though, if you're wondering, like, how bad can this White Sox team possibly be? We still have a whole month left.
Yeah.
They're currently on pace. I got some nuggets here for you. They are on pace. Let's see. On pace for 36. This is according to the Bennett K on Twitter. White Sox are now 31-107, which is a win percentage of .225. They're now on pace for 36.39 wins. They are okay. So if they go 8-16 to finish out the season, that'll be a winning percentage of .333, which will give them the fewest wins in the MLB expansion era, which is from 1961 on.
Come on, need it.
If they go 9-15, that will give them the worst winning percentage in the I'm sorry. 8-16, that'll give them the fewest wins in the expansion era. If they go 9-15, that will give them the worst winning percentage in the expansion era. And if they go 11-13, that would be the worst record in the 21st century.
Yeah. So we really, let's just keep it under 40 wins, just for a nice number. That's like a nice target. Let's just keep that under 40 dubs.
That sounds backwards.
It does sound backwards.
Now that I look at this.
I didn't want to stop you, but it did sound backwards.
The Bennett K, what are you doing to me here? I assume that this was valid information, but
I would have flipped all of those.
Yeah, what are we doing? If they went 11-13, that would give them the fewest wins.
Yeah, see, I feel like that's the stat for the 8.
Now I'm flipping it.
You're discrediting this tweet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's raising some questions now.
Throw him under the bus. What's his name? What's his handle?
If you go 11-13, how does that give you the worst record in the 21st century? But if you go 8-16, how is that not the worst record in the 21st century?
I think it is, on top of also being the least wins and whatever. I don't know. I'm over it. Like I said, let's just stay under 40 dubs. That's what we're rooting for.
Well, speaking of 40, according to Scott Merck, and Scott, hopefully you don't let me down here, the White Sox have lost 40 of their last 44 games. They're the second team in the modern era to have a stretch of 40 losses over a 44-game span in a single season, along with the
what year?
1916. You're not going to guess it. The 1916 A's, who lost 41 of 44. Speaking of the
Philadelphia A's back then, yeah?
Yes. If you speaking of the A's, if you're curious about how this team stacks up against last year's worst team in baseball, the Oakland A's, the 2023 Oakland A's, they finished at 50-112. And as I mentioned, this current White Sox team is on pace for, call it 36 wins.
I need it. 100 over 120 losses is absurd.
They've been shut out 15 times. They've been swept 22 times, and they've blown 51 leads. They own the 3 longest losing streaks in Major League Baseball this year.
They've been swept 22 times.
They've been swept 22 times.
That's got to be a record. 22 sweeps?
I'm at the point now where I think that everything they do is a record.
Damn,
and not
man.
A good record. Not a good record.
What's Grady doing?
This is not on Grady. This isn't on Grady.
No, I'm saying, what was he doing saying yes to this job?
Oh, yeah. I
don't know if I would have said yes to this.
I mean, if you're working like, what did we say? He was working like a $15 an hour job. If a MLB managerial position opens up, even if it's a temporary tag, I might take that. Although it is the White Sox, I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough. They are. Oh, how many games back are they? You ask. They're 39 games back of 4th place.
So they're more games back than they have wins.
They're more games back of 4th place than they have wins. Let that sink in.
Wow.
My goodness.
Of the who? Of the
Tigers.
The Tigers? That's what I was going to say.
But shout out the American League Central, though. We just got done talking about how the Tigers are still technically not dead.
Yeah.
And they're in 4th place in that division. So shout out the Tigers, I guess.
Shout out the Central, for sure.
Shout out the Central.
Much better baseball this year.
I put out a tweet like a week or two ago, and I was listing out predictable headlines that you could have seen coming at the start of the year. Mm-hmm. I think this was one of them. I think the Central improving quality-wise as a whole was certainly predictable. Sans the White Sox, I think we can exclude them from this conversation.
Yeah.
But the other 4 teams in that division, they're playing high-quality ball right now, and I like it.
You know my stance. Get them out of Chicago. Burn it down. Start over.
They're currently riding I just love all the numbers associated with this team right now. They're currently riding a 10-game losing streak. They've got a negative 291 run differential. I will give it to them. They're consistent with their losses. 54 at home, 53 on the road. But I think if you were to take away one thing from this segment here, it's that, as we said, more games back of fourth place than they have wins.
That's so tough.
That's disgusting. Get the 2024 Chicago White Sox should be the inspiration and the organization, the example needed to implement relegation in baseball. Like, can we get the Durham Bulls up here or something? Can we get I don't know, the Portland Sea Dogs up here?
47 and a half games back.
Get somebody up here. The White Sox are
do you know the
doo-doo.
Do you know the A's run differential last year? You know what that was?
Probably a lot better. Are you asking me or do you know?
I don't know. They're at minus 291.
White Sox this year, what did I say? You said 291?
Yeah.
Last year, the Whites, oh, yikes. The A's were negative 339 last year.
Hey, well,
but they finished 50-112, so they may do with what they had.
There's another month. They'll get there.
They'll get there.
Last 10, 0-10.
They're such garbage. Get them,
They've
drop them down a couple levels. Get the Sea Dogs up here.
They've had the little E next to their name in standings for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, sometime.
Get out of Chicago.
Let's talk Clayton Kershaw here. Clayton to the 15-day IL. And look, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. I had a lot of people coming at me for my post following the injury that he suffered in Arizona this weekend. I wasn't watching the game necessarily at that given moment. I have been watching Dodgers D-backs this weekend, but I wasn't watching the game at that moment when he suffered this injury.
I can't watch.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you, man.
It's so dumb. Like, get this fixed.
Like, at least with the Orioles and the Nationals, I can watch on Masson. Like, if Boston's in town, it's blacked out, I can at least pull it up on Masson and watch it that way. But for, like, if you have a situation where you don't have a cable connection or you don't have your parents,
there's no way to watch.
Log in.
The Diamondbacks don't have a cable network right now.
There you go. That's rough.
It's crazy.
Yeah, whatever. We don't need to pull at that thread.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't watching at the moment, but all I see is people freaking out. Oh, is this the end of the Hall of Famer's career? This was and I saw like other tweets. This was the last time we're ever going to see Clayton Kershaw on a major league mound. And I'm going, oh my God, what happened? Like, did he get shot? Was there a sniper in the crowd? So I put out the post with the injury. Like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and get out in front of it here. I should have done a little more digging around. I should have looked into his reaction afterwards. I pulled up the video. It looked painful, whatever it was. But I just put out the post with somebody's tweet superimposed over a picture of Kershaw walking off the field. And I was like, have we seen the last of Clayton Kershaw? And all these people go, no, overreaction, hardly, not the case, buddy. Watch some baseball. It's like, it was just a question. Like, have we seen? Is this it? Like, I don't know. I don't know what this means for Kershaw. Maybe a bone spur in his big toe is what sets him over the edge. Maybe we have seen the end of Clayton Kershaw.
And
he's
like,
you know what? Yeah, maybe he looks at it and is like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And then these people coming at me in the comments are going to look like idiots.
Well, it's the Dodger fans, they already, except Murray.
Shout out Murray.
Fresh after a ding dong too. It was like right after
Corbin Carroll.
Yeah,
I saw people saying like, did Corbin Carroll just send Clayton Kershaw into retirement? I'm like, come on now. But you just have to assume when something like this happens, it's something with the arm, it's something with the shoulder, something with the elbow, something with the back.
The back is the normal one, yeah.
Kershaw just doesn't have a good history when it comes to these kinds of things. So when you see, Kershaw was pulled prematurely from the game after home run.
Dodger fans are weird because, like, I feel like they can talk a lot of noise against Kershaw, but they don't let other fans from other fan bases talk. You notice that?
I respect it though. It's like we're gonna boo our guy, but only we're allowed to boo our guy. I get that. There's like a protective nature there. I
get that. We're the same way about like Clay Holmes. Like, yeah, 100% feel that. Don't talk to. You can't say bad things, but I can.
Yeah, like
yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I can talk about how the Red Sox defense at times this year has been the worst in baseball, but only we're allowed to say that. You can't run your mouth about our defense, because then I'm gonna talk about how we have one of the best offenses in baseball and just shove it right back down your throat. Anyway, it's not about Red Sox or Yankees.
Here's what I will say though, is that their Dodgers have expanded the lead a little bit. They have kind of gave themselves a little bit more of a cushion. It's up to 5 now in the division. So I think 5, right?
D-backs smoked them today, didn't they? I was watching that game. I didn't see what it finished up.
Yeah, the 5-game lead
score wise.
5-game lead in a month. I mean, that ain't easy. So.
Oh yeah, yikes! D-backs put up 14 on them today. But that's after dropping the first 2 of the series. So you said it's at 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of a cushion. They still got one more on Monday, or today if you're listening on Monday.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I don't know how much of an impact this has on the Dodgers at this point. I think this series has helped them, like you said. It's kind of, and we'll see what happens in Game 4. But taking the first 2 games of the series to start things off certainly helps. It takes a little bit of pressure on you needing to shore up your pitching immediately right away to fend off the rest of the division. But
are you calling anybody up? I haven't really paid attention too much.
There was a corresponding
obviously
move. I don't remember.
Obviously, what I mean was September call-ups specifically. Wonder if they're calling anybody up. There's now a limitation on September call-ups, right? I think it dropped down in one.
Did it drop down a guy?
One number, yeah.
It's possible, but it's the same. It's the same issue for the Dodgers. You just need to shore up your pitching, especially given given the health of it over the course of this year, how that's gone, and you need to figure out I don't want to call it a plan B, but you need to figure out an approach to handle the starts that Clayton Kershaw used to take in the postseason, because we can talk about it till we're blue in the face.
You're lucky to get 4 innings out of him now.
That's what I'm saying. So like, let's figure something else out, because this isn't it. And I with this injury and him missing more time after already missing the majority of this season, I don't really know what Clayton Kershaw is going to provide you at this stage to finish out the year or to finish out the postseason.
The other thing I heard, and I had a coworker say this, shout out, former coworker now, shout out Troy though, but my buddy Troy, he said that, cause he's a Cowboys fan, and he said that the Yankees and the Cowboys are the same in a way that, and I'm going to throw the Dodgers in this category, the regular season just doesn't matter. We're at the point where it just doesn't matter. Do whatever you need to do. If you go 2 games over 500, if you win 120 games, whatever. If it doesn't end in a ring, it doesn't matter. So like, we're now at that point. I think I'm officially not recognizing 2020 anymore. Like I don't know. When it happened, I was like, what do you want them to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like they won, but it's just like, it's kind of lost its luster to this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I see that speaking of Kershaw, I see that clip of him running onto the field after they won it, and it just makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, I don't like. I'm happy for him, but I'm not.
It's not the same.
It just doesn't. It doesn't bring me that same level of joy that I would get from seeing somebody else who's worked their entire career to get a ring finally get one. That's just the reality of it. Like it's nothing against him, but it's just that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, it's all good. Whatever. I do like Kershaw though.
Love Kershaw, but this is just tough break. The Royals making some veteran additions with the bats following Vinny Pasquantino's injury, who, by the way, will be out 6 to 8 weeks, which is just a massive blow for the Royals.
We'll just call that the season.
Yeah. Although you never know, I don't recall the timeline exactly of the Schwarber.
That's what I was gonna say. You could pull a Schwarber. You could pull a Schwarber.
We could see something like that with Vinny making a heroic comeback into the late stages of the postseason.
That's a minimum ALCS appearance.
Sure.
Like at the earliest, probably a World Series thing.
We could see it. But they add Tommy Pham, Robbie Grossman, and acquire Yuli Gurriel in a trade. And people wonder, like, yo, what's the deal with the trade? I saw that question being asked a lot. He was acquired on a minor league deal, and because he has not played at the big league level this year, he is eligible to be traded after the deadline.
Interesting.
So he will hopefully... I think they've already got him in the lineup. I think he played today. I think he had a knock or two, so he's already making an impact. And
he'll play pretty good first base too.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now. He's gonna have some heroic AB down the stretch.
There's just that, the Astros.
He's eligible to be traded post deadline, but I think we're past the playoff eligibility with him, correct?
Gotta be.
Is that how that works?
Gotta be.
So this heroic AB that he's most likely going to have is going to come at some point late September, and it's going to give them a huge morale boost, a huge push.
Yeah.
Just wait for it.
I like you said Robbie Grossman too?
Robbie Grossman, who, by the way, I looked up his splits. Guy
just dominates against righties.
Guy mashes. No, lefties.
Really?
Mashes against lefties. Versus righties, he's slashing 172, 277, 207, 484. Versus lefties, 279, 388, 430, 819. Weighted runs created plus of 136. Mm-hmm. So mashes lefties. So you can
Pham also matches lefties. So
Pham was a surprising DFA.
I agree.
By St. Louis.
He would be eligible, right? Or are we just past that point if you're being added?
That's a good question.
Is it like service time with another team?
Did we determine, is it the start of September? Was that the cutoff for eligibility? Or was it? It wasn't deadline related.
You're asking the wrong guy. I just ain't that guy.
Well, I don't know the answer to your question. I don't know if Pham would be eligible.
Maybe it was somewhat rhetorical.
But whatever. I can go ahead and just about guarantee you that this mixture, this trio here will certainly
there's production
provide them some production down the stretch.
But Pasquatch is a tough blow.
That is tough blow. And, good for the Royals. Like, this is what a lot of and we talked. I literally went on a mini rant last episode about this, but good on the Royals for handling the deadline, handling the offseason the way that they did, because there's a lot of teams that would have added names like this. They would have added a trio of Pham, Grossman, and Gurriel and called that a trade deadline.
Yep.
But they're doing this like they're doing this after the fact.
Yep.
And so because of that, I'm looking at these additions going, okay, like they're not gonna take the league over by storm by any means, but that's some much needed depth, some pop off the bench.
Doesn't why do I feel like MJ Melendez could play a little first base too, couldn't he?
I think he has.
Hasn't he?
He's played right. He catches, obviously, but I think he has.
Am I
played
crazy?
A little first. No, why do I feel like this year was his first time playing third? Am I crazy?
First, you mean?
Isn't that what I said?
Third.
Did I say third? Oh, number 3 was on my mind positionally. No, he played a little third last year. But yeah, he has played a little first this year. So definitely in the mix if needed.
Because I was going to say, because like Pham and Grossman are obviously going to be in the outfield. So
Sure.
just shifting things around a little bit. Good on the Royals, man. Good on the Royals for still being in the hunt and able to make these types of moves and still try to win ball games. And these are veteran names. These are good ABs. You're getting good ABs and you're getting average major league defense.
Lastly here, Nate, let's talk Chicago Cubs, a team in particular that I think a lot of folks have maybe written off, but they're not dead yet. They swept the Nationals this weekend. They've won 6 straight entering the new week. They're 9-1 in their last 10, and they're only 3.5 back in the wild card. Can I tell you about their offense?
Yeah, because I'm not hyped up yet.
The Cubs offense have scored 14 runs 4 times in their last 8 games.
Goodness.
Get this. I'm going to have to sit up for this one. The Chicago Cubs offense, the 99 runs that they scored over their last 10 games is the second most over a 10-game span in 100 years. The last time, or the most runs that were scored was back in 1930 when 104 runs were scored in a 10-game span.
Goodness.
That's the kind of offense we're looking at right now. However, I ask you this. Is it too little too late? Looking at the wild card on the National League side, is it too late for the Cubs?
At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just Sharpie in the Diamondbacks and the Padres. I just don't see that fade happening in a month. So it comes down to the Braves and the Mets. Will they fall? Will that happen?
I mean, give me your honest thoughts. We are now officially in September. Give me your thoughts on the Mets right now. Did you think it would last this long?
I did not.
Because I'll be honest with you, it's making me a little nervous.
I don't want them. I just don't want it. I don't want it to happen. I don't want to hear the nonsense. I just don't want to hear it, especially for a first round exit, because you know that's what's going to happen. I don't want to hear it. I need the Braves to hang on to this. Or for the Cubs to hop, skippity hop over and take it. But I don't even understand. You could offer me a few $100s to try and name a Cubs lineup, and I don't think I could. Really don't think I could.
It's gonna be interesting. You know, like what was it? About a week or so ago, we're talking about how, like, well, it looks like the postseason picture is coming into clarity. Like, I think at this point we know who's in. It's just a matter of seeding. But you've got teams like this that are just kind of hanging out in the shadows. Well, the Cubs haven't been hanging out in the shadows. I mean, they're surging right now. Like I said, 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 6 in a row. So they're surging through the shadows as opposed to just hanging out. But it's like you can't. With the month left, you can't write the Cubs off.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This organization needs to figure it out, though. You need to give your fan base an idea.
I don't know
of
what your hatred
going.
for Chicago sports is. I don't
They're
know
directionless,
where it comes
and
from.
you can ask any Cubs fan. Ask them. They're not happy with what what their front office has been doing. It's weird. It's strange. And it's directionless. And I'm giving props to, this is Craig Counsell. This has nothing to do with front office. This is Craig Counsell and some good ball players. That's about it. And it's not like Bellinger is out here putting up MVP performances or even a performance that warrants that contract he got. This is Craig Counsell.
I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's not, but do you think when they asked him to be the manager of their ball club that they had the expectation or the assumption that they were going to finish ahead of the Mets in the wild card race?
I think they would have.
Not to say that it won't happen, but like as it stands right now, like I mean, they're up against the Mets, and we're talking about one of the best managers in baseball. Not his fault. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I don't want to give like extra credit to Craig Counsell for what he's done, because at the end of the day, I don't know.
I think this is about as good as you could expect a Cubs season. Being in the hunt with a month left, ish.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
It's about as good as you could hope for,
That's
especially when you were a quasi seller at the deadline. But
also
didn't
true.
Sell enough.
There's no way.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, to their credit, no, in their defense, they didn't. Nobody saw this stretch coming.
Yeah,
especially again with the deadline that they had.
Crazy.
Nobody saw this coming, and this just puts a wrench into things. And one of my least favorite parts about post-deadline September baseball is when things start shaking out, teams go on runs, players start performing extra poorly or more impressively, and then you got the revisionist history folks that are like, okay, well, what were we doing at the deadline? It's like, okay, we didn't have the benefit of hindsight. If you're the Cubs, you didn't know that this run was coming. But if you did, sure, yeah, maybe we would have handled the deadline a little differently. Maybe we would have supplemented a little bit to improve our chances of beating or finishing ahead of the Mets. But they didn't know that, so they're kind of just making do with what they've got. And to your point, I think Craig Counsell has played a huge role in that. And if they find a way to squeak in, which you got a little bit of a hurdle to get over here, I think all the more credit belongs to Craig Counsell yet. But they haven't done anything.
Stay hot, man. There's always one team. Why can't it be them? You know, there's always one team that makes some type of run, sneaks in, and then kind of does some damage because it's just all about being hot at the right time. We've seen it year over year. It's all about being hot at the right time. So why not them? But not the Mets, please.
All right, to wrap up here, I'm going to spring a little something on you. You had no idea this was coming, I like springing a game on you here. All right, you've got 30 seconds. Name the 5 Major League Baseball teams in the postseason hunt named after animals. Go.
Cubs. You've got Diamondbacks. You've got Orioles. You've got pressure. Tigers, I guess, if we can consider them. Come on. Mariners.
That's not an animal.
It's not a fish.
No, dude. A mariner is like a
fisherman,
a seaman of sorts, a pirate of sorts, a sailor of sorts. Not an animal.
What did I miss?
It's technically, mathematically, it's the Cardinals.
I never would have got there.
Not out of the mix.
Yeah, that's fair. That's not bad.
I mean,
did I get the other 4 were right?
The list is pretty short of teams that are in the hunt. So I mean, you mentally, I feel like you could have blocked out like half the league, but under pressure, having just dumped that on you out of nowhere, that was 4 out of 5 as passing.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an 80.
Working through what teams are. When you're working through a division, you're like, what's a twin? No. Socks, not an animal.
Inanimate object.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough. What's a Philly? No one knows.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I thought of you. I saw this GIF or like a meme or whatever that.
Hold on. I don't like that you said the word Phillies and then transitioned to I thought of you.
Yeah.
Why are you making the connection there? Are you calling me a quasi Phillies fan?
You like a play on words. And
I've beat those allegations, by the way.
Here's why. Let me get there. It's a guy. It's like an old like portrait of like an old guy, and he's like holding a goose. And the caption of like the guy says, "I'm a people person," and the goose, his caption is, "I'm a geese goose." So
I'm a geese goose.
That's what the Phillies make me think of, because it's like Phillies. It's like you like that though. You're gonna go find that. You're gonna find that gift. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna find it.
I'm a people person. I'm a geese goose. I knew you'd like that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else for the folks?
Oh no.
Have a happy Labor Day.
Yeah, get after it tomorrow. Whatever you're doing, if you're sleeping in, get after that. If you're productive, get after that. If you're going to the lake and eating a bunch of crap food and drinking and swimming, get after that like I will. What are you doing?
Gonna hang out with the parents, maybe and sprinkle in some pickleball.
There it is. Get after that.
Getting into pickleball a little bit recently.
I need to get into it, I think.
I'm not gonna lie. It's I see the draw. I see the appeal.
Are your knees okay?
It depends. To your point, getting after it. It depends how hard I get after it. Because
depends on the opponents.
If I'm playing leisurely, which is rarely the case, because I just like being super aggressive, anything competitive wise. So
100%.
More often than not, my knees are feeling a little bit, but I gotta just push through. I mean, I'm 30. I can't.
How's your brother?
He's pretty good.
Is he?
Yeah, the whole family's actually pretty good. Yeah,
really.
We get moving around. I mean, it's way better than tennis. Tennis is impossible. If you don't actually play tennis, you don't even bother. It's a waste of time because you spend 3/4 of the time chasing the ball. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
But pickleball, that's a sweet spot.
What was that like commercial where David Ortiz, they were like doing tennis lessons or whatever after he retired? He's like, yee. just
yeeting it over the fence. Yeah, that's me.
That's anytime I play. That's all that happens. I'm hitting it well over that tall fence.
I immediately go into like BP mode. I'm like, oh, let me get this backhand right to the ball. A to B. To B.
I'm not gonna hit a rollover to third base. I'm gonna launch this puppy.
Forget the top spin. I got to get some back spin.
Pickleball doesn't like go very far, right? Like you can hit it pretty hard without it going too deep.
Yeah.
I like that.
But to answer your question, that's probably what's in the mix for me tomorrow. So
it's a good day. It's a good day.
We shall see.
You can work up a sweat playing that, yeah? Really? I don't have to get into that. I don't like that.
Highly recommend.
Good deal. Good stuff. Let's have a good week. Well, I'm gonna do a whole lot of nothing this week. It's awesome.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah. I guess we'll see you folks here in a few days. Enjoy your day off. Don't go chasing curveballs.
Love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.